Continuing with our weapon build guides, we're focusing on Greg's Reverse Fate today. There's another fan favorite, certainly one that is near and dear to my heart. It hits hard, it's a great weapon. So we're going to kind of help you understand the methodology behind any kind of build that you might do with it. Certainly you have a lot of options, so let's get into those. With this particular weapon, we've got firearm ATK versus Colossus. That's definitely a good role. We're going to use this in our fights against the Colossus, so certainly would be happy with that. Weak point damage increase of 11.7%. Weak point's always good and strong with this particular weapon. A reduction in recoil and an increase in firearm ATK of 12.1%. So these are all good base rolls no matter what weapon you're looking at. Should we be looking for something different? We'll talk about that as we move through the build guide. First, let's take a look at the base stats of the weapon. So we've got firearm ATK. We know we've got a bonus to that already. We started with 15,614. We've gotten a 12.1% boost to that from our weapon option. Fire rate, rounds per magazine 30, so very similar to what we would have seen with Python, but the fire rate for this weapon is much slower, so it'll last much longer. Reload time of 1.4 seconds, so not too shabby. We do have good critical hit rate, 20% here, and critical hit damage at 2%, so these are something we could have spec'd into, or we could have tried to re-roll onto the weapon if we wanted to. Personal choice, certainly I think it would benefit this weapon to have a greater increase in critical hit rate and a greater increase in critical hit damage. So we'd likely mod into that. You could mod away from it, but I think we would likely mod into that with this weapon. So we'll talk about that as we go on. Burst damage is the type that it does. Attribute status effect trigger rate is 7.14%. So. And weak point damage, so we've got a little bit of a bonus too here. It starts off pretty respectable though, with 2.22 is the base stat, and then we've gotten a bonus, so now it's 2.234, so pretty strong. Hip fire accuracy and the rest of your information there. We can see our reduction of recoil happening here, and our bonus against Colossus is here as well. Let's talk about the unique ability of this weapon. On hitting an enemy, it procs bombardment. A bombardment on the enemy's locations with a set chance inflicts burn on enemies hit by bombardment. So we can spec into burn here and get some benefit. Hip fire accuracy, no penalty, or aim shot accuracy, no penalty, and that's because we have put 4 copies into this weapon. Trigger rate for bombardment is 20%, so 1 in every 5th shot will trigger it. Damage range is 5 meters. This has been increased due to the number of weapons that we've put into it. Bombardment count 7, so we get 7 bombardments for each time it triggers. Additional damage, firearm damage of 100%, so we get that firearm damage raining down again for that bombardment. Very beneficial. The burn duration is 3 seconds. The damage interval is 1 second, so we get 3 ticks basically, and then additional damage, firearm damage of 20%. So massive benefit. This weapon just rains down fire and brimstone, if you will. Pretty exciting stuff, and you can see from the gameplay that we've been rolling, it's really an intense weapon to use and a lot of fun. Certainly great for mobs, but also good in a boss fight. It hits hard and does a lot of damage. Like any weapon, we did a demonstration during our video that you can see up above there. You can click on that. That'll take you to our last video where we did a weapon build on Python, and we showed the difference between modding and not modding and how much impact modding makes. So you can check that one out, and it'll definitely tell you, or show you why you really need to invest in all your weapons if you want to get something out of them. So take a look at that. How would we want to mod this? In general, who is this good for? That's one of the questions we like to answer. I think this weapon is good for any Descendant. It's not specifically going to be beneficial for anyone. Certainly there are some synergies perhaps with someone like Lepic, for instance, who's a fire Descendant, or maybe someone like Blair. So you would get some benefits there, but I think overall weapon choice could be good for any Descendant, certainly. So, and you notice I've got it paired with Clay because it's great to have endless ammo on this particular weapon. It's a lot of fun with Clay. So as always, we will start off with firearm ATK. Let's take a look at what are some of our choices here. We've got rifling reinforcement. We pop that on there. Action and reaction, we throw that on there. The penalty to recoil, I don't really feel it that much, to be honest with you. So I'm not really concerned about that right out of the gate. So we'll leave that one alone for the time being. We do want to talk about using our better mods, as we called them before. So we've got better concentration and better insight. Obviously, insight giving us the critical hit rate, concentration giving us critical hit damage. We do want to lean into this a bit more. So certainly, if we can get some critical hit rate, anything that we can do maybe to get us up there. So firearm critical hit rate plus some damage. So insight focus is a good call there. That's going to help us quite a bit. We do want to do anything we can to enhance that. We could lean even further by using maybe concentration priority to boost this further and get more damage. But the penalty to reload modifier is probably not the best choice in this particular instance. As always, we can benefit from greater ammo. So one of the things that we can look at two different things. We can talk about having more ammo, so expanding the weapon charge would give us 49% more rounds in the magazine, and fire rate is also another one that's always beneficial. So we can fire more and get more benefit there as well. That is definitely the direction we want to go from that point of view. Now let's look at some of the other options here. We could get more firearm ATK and get more critical hit damage by using bullet integration. So certainly this would be a good call for us as well. Will amplification charge, get more firearm ATK, and then to a hit of critical hit damage. Now this would not be a good mod. If we're using a weapon that's not going to be using crit, then certainly we would lean in this direction. Right, so maybe if we were using the build that we just did with Python, this could be a good choice with Python because we don't care about the critical hit rate or critical hit damage, so we might go in that direction. But for what we're doing right now, it's not a good choice. What are some of the other things that we might do? Have aiming. We get more weak point damage. This certainly could help us with a penalty to accuracy. The penalty to accuracy probably wouldn't be felt that much, so accuracy and recoil not really impacting this weapon to a great degree. We could look at things like Hawkeye, which would change the accuracy and offset that if we wanted to, or we could, in this case, add some toxic to our fire damage, right? So we could lean in the direction of having some toxicity. This would really give us kind of a double stack of both fire and toxic does stack, so you're not going to lose it in there, and it does actually stack, so you get more benefit. So this is a direction that we could certainly lean. You could go away from some of the recoil damage that you've taken and go with concentration stabilizer, which would also give you more firearm critical hit damage, so you could lean in that direction and take away the toxic out of there. The same thing with fixed shot. So all these choices, here would be just fine. We could lean further into toxic gun barrel, and take away some of the other benefits that we have and go in that direction. But I think this is a strong build and a strong contender. So shifting over to looking at an option that would take advantage of fire enhancement more. Certainly we could lean more into the fire enhancement here. We could go ahead and catalyze this slot, catalyze a couple of the other slots to really take more advantage of it. In that particular case, another 2A slots right here, we could boost our fire damage quite a bit. We could get fire enhancement all the way up. We could add fire priority, or we could add heat incinerator. When defeating an enemy inflicted with burn, inflicts burn on other enemies within 8 meters of the target for 5 seconds. So we could really lean heavily into this, and that would give us a huge benefit in terms of being able to take advantage of all the fire that we can do. Chill, we've certainly moved in this direction. You can see from here we've got the chill enhancement. So if we're going up against an enemy that is weak to chill, then this would be the move. Well, that wraps this up. This is an excellent weapon, a good choice for any arsenal and certainly any characters. I hope you enjoyed the build. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. If not, tell us why in the comments, and we'll see if we can do better in the next one. As you can see from the gameplay here, this is an incredibly powerful weapon, and I think it's a good choice. Certainly, it's the reason why it holds such a strong place in the game at this time. Thank you again, and have a wonderful rest of your day.